Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh,
no one expected a Coldplay concert amid the soaring vocals and dazzling fireworks to mark the downfall of a billion-dollar CEO. As the Kiss Cam began scanning couples around Gillette Stadium, thousands of fans cheered in joyful anticipation. But within seconds, the atmosphere shifted. The camera landed on two people who were not husband and wife. Andy Byron, CEO of Astronomer, a tech company valued at over $1.3 billion, and Kristin Cabot, the company's chief people officer. They didn't kiss, but the way they looked at each other, the way they leaned away from the camera and smiled awkwardly, said everything. 1 second on camera, one fleeting glance, and the entire legacy Byron had spent decades building began to melt away like snow in summer. Andy Byron was once admired across Silicon Valley. He didn't have a technical background, wasn't a coding genius, but he understood markets, knew how to talk to investors, and could turn dry data into gold. A graduate of Providence College, he had held high-ranking roles at firms like CyberReason, BMC Software, and Fuse, earning the nickname the Growth Broker, a man brought in to slash waste, boost metrics, and move on. In 2023, with Astronomer struggling to retain customers and prove its commercial worth, Byron was brought in as CEO. Within a year, revenue nearly doubled, customer retention soared past 130%, and the company's Airflow platform processed over 2.6 billion data workflows. People called him a machine of optimization. Internally, though, some whispered another nickname, Byron the Bulldozer. He wipes out anyone who questions him. Kristin Cabot, by contrast, was the calm to Byron's storm. A graduate of Brown University, she had worked at top tech companies like Segment and Coinbase before joining Astronomer as chief people officer, the architect of company values, internal culture, and ethical policies. Employees trusted her. She was the public face of Astronomer's HR integrity. In many ways, Kristin balanced Byron, the velvet glove to his iron fist. They co-led meetings, shared conference stages, and together shaped the company's leadership philosophy: transparency, efficiency, and accountability. No one could have guessed that these two most trusted figures would end up at the center of a scandal that would shake the company's very foundation. Kristin Cabot, the woman seen beside Byron in the viral clip, had long been considered a moral compass. She had spoken at countless events on workplace ethics, the importance of boundaries, and the dangers of power imbalances. She had written the very guidelines that defined leadership behavior at Astronomer. Yet there she was, sitting beside Byron on the Kiss Cam at the very moment the world was watching. The clip is short. Byron and Cabot spot the camera. They flinch, lean slightly away. But then there's a subtle glance between them, one that anyone who's ever been in love would recognize. It wasn't a colleague's glance. It was something else, but far more pain. Just days after the incident, Andy Byron's wife appeared in a tearful video. Her voice shaking, her eyes red, she said plainly, "I've removed his last name from mine." In a video less than 2 minutes long, she revealed more truth than any press release could. "I always trusted him. Andy always told me, family is everything. I believed him. I thought those business trips that always happened on our kids' birthdays were just work. But now I know better." She announced her decision to leave the man she called cruel and unworthy to be the father of my children. "I don't want my kids to grow up in a home built on lies. I'll do whatever I can to shield them from more pain." No scandal ends with a soundtrack. Just replayed footage, deleted names, and a family left to gather the broken pieces in silence. In most executive scandals, we expect the standard playbook: a public apology, a sense of responsibility, and a dignified exit. Andy Byron chose none of those things. Instead, the billionaire CEO issued a personal letter to Astronomer employees, a carefully crafted statement filled with polished language but utterly devoid of remorse. No apology, no accountability, no empathy for his wife, not a word to his children, and worse, he blamed the cameraman. I believe that moment should have remained private, not broadcast in front of tens of thousands and recorded without consent. That sentence didn't just dodge blame, it insulted everyone's intelligence. Byron wasn't caught in a private dinner or hidden hotel suite. He was at a sold-out public concert with 60,000 fans and a giant screen overhead. Everyone knows what the Kiss Cam is. Everyone knows it's public. And yet, instead of accepting responsibility, Byron pointed the finger at someone simply doing their job. He didn't own the moment. He deflected. And for a man in his position, that isn't just cowardly, it's unethical. A leader may fail, but a leader who refuses to admit fault and chooses instead to blame the powerless reveals a system of values that has already collapsed. Astronomer quickly moved to damage control. The company's board launched an internal investigation. Byron was placed on immediate leave. His temporary replacement? Co-founder and chief product officer Pete DeJoy. In a memo to staff, DeJoy declared, "We will not tolerate any behavior that violates the ethical standards we set, no matter who it is." Meanwhile, prediction markets like Kalshi reacted with lightning speed. The probability of Byron resigning before month's end skyrocketed to 68%. What was once the symbol of leadership now became the company's greatest liability. The media dubbed the scandal Coldplay Gate, not because it began at a concert, but because of how far it spread. Over 25 million views in 72 hours, tens of thousands of articles, posts, and think pieces. Analysts began labeling it the biggest PR crisis ever faced by a SaaS company. A moment of awkward glancing, and an empire begins to crack. Some mistakes cost money, others cost reputation. But a few, just a few, cost everything you've ever built. Andy Byron wasn't a rock star, not a movie idol, not a man used to flashing cameras. He was a CEO, a husband, a father. At least he used to be. And perhaps that's what made this scandal sting even more. It struck at our faith in those we consider too busy, too focused, too professional to fall. But no one is too busy to slip. No one is too powerful to face consequences, and no one is wealthy enough to buy back lost trust. What remains, after all the statements, headlines, and silence, is the wound. A final word, then, to the woman who once bore the name Byron, the one who wept in a phone video, not behind a boardroom mic. May you be well, may your children be well, and may something good come from all that has been broken. The scandal will fade, the headlines will move on, but the pain of the children, the sorrow in a wife's eyes, and the silence where an apology should have been will remain forever.